Hi everyone. Today is the 6-month anniversary of the date that I found out that I have cancer. And boy, has it been a crazy 6 months. From all the cancer treatments and the speed at which I've been receiving treatment, first with chemotherapy with FOLFIRINOX, then FLOFOX, then moving on to targeted therapy when I found out I had neuroendocrine tumors, to building this channel and having it become what it's become today, which is a community of people supporting each other. It's just been a whirlwind ride, I guess. The past 6 months has just been amazing, I guess. In a time where, I've experienced pain, it's been a blessing. So just wanted to take the time to reflect on what it's been like in building out My Fight with Cancer. So, early on, I think I talked about it in one of my videos, which was my identity was tied to being a provider, providing something of value for my family, whether it's financially or something like that. It was kind of like an equal trade. I provide, therefore you love me. And now it's different. It's more about, as a father, as a husband, it's about being present with my family. My family loves me unconditionally. I provide for them, of course, but they care more about my presence and the connection that we share, than thinking about it as a transactional relationship. I think a lot of people get stuck into that trap, and they want to provide for their family so that their family can be happy, healthy, and for them to be good parents, providers, or whatnot. But in doing so, it comes at a cost that often takes something away from them. And really, your family, what they want from you is to have that relationship with you, to have that connection with you, to have that bond. And a lot of that just comes with you being present, watching a movie together without looking at your phone, having a conversation, sitting down to dinner. Those seemingly small moments are actually some of the most important ones to build a connection and relationship with family. The other thing that I've learned is that vulnerability doesn't weaken connection. It creates it. I used to think that showing vulnerability in any way, shape, or form is a weakness, and I would try really hard never to show my family any of my vulnerabilities, my anxieties, and as a leader at work, very much the same. But in building out this channel and sharing my vulnerability in my pain, in my suffering, in how I'm feeling each day, it's actually made me feel a lot better about the connection that I have with the people that I'm sharing with. When you're pushing all of these things down, it's not really being human. And I guess being human and showing that we're all vulnerable to a certain extent is what builds that connection between us and what makes us all uniquely human. It's like, I'm not an IG page just posting about, all of my great accomplishments in life and wanting to seemingly make myself look perfect. No, I'm showing what I'm going through each day so that I can hopefully help others on the same journey not feel so alone, or to basically help people understand that, suffering, it happens to everyone, and, we can choose joy through it if we want to. Helping others has given my suffering meaning. So like with this channel, I think that, at least with all the comments that I've seen, things around motivating others to fight the good fight. I've gotten tons of comments around I needed to see this today, around some of the reflections. So I just feel like from the messages and from the choosing joy and the pain, through the pain and the suffering, and transcending our circumstances, I think a lot of people have found that message encouraging and have been able to a certain extent, apply it in their own lives to be able to help them get through whatever they're trying to get through today. I've learned to surrender control sometimes. I mean, previously it was all about control for me, control over my career, control over my finances, control over the future. But I've learned that, through a lot of the anxiety and through the stress, that sometimes you just gotta let go and let God, because not everything is within your control. And that's okay. I think having that serenity of, being able to change the things you can, understanding what you can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference is important in life, so that you're focusing on the right things, and, the things you can't control, sometimes you just let it go. But I think that, surrendering control has given me a lot of peace in my life, rather than a lot of anxiety trying to make sure everything falls into place perfectly. Joy is not the absence of hardship. Joy is a choice made in the middle of it. So I talk about the difference between joy and happiness, and how happiness is fleeting and joy is something that transcends our circumstances. And a lot of times when we choose joy, it's during challenging times, during pain, during suffering. And being able to anchor yourself on that joy to be able to get through whatever you need to get through that day, that year, that month, is really what joy is. So for me, I've talked about it before, mine's more grounded in faith, because I feel like faith is something that is foundational or strong or somewhat immutable. And for me, it's the good word, the good news of, redemption through Jesus' death and resurrection, right? But that anchoring to that and being grateful and prayerful of all the blessings that I have in life, which even at this time of, disease and pain, I can still find things to be thankful for. My conscientious wife, my amazing son, the fact that I'm still around to be able to build a connection with both of them, and to still be able to serve the world by sharing the story of what I'm going through, as well as how I'm getting through it. I think all of that are all blessings in my mind that, God has given me. So I can, through prayer and through thankfulness, anchor myself to the joy that fuels me to push and get through this. And, a community can both scale impact, but a community is also not just an audience. It's a family that carries you. as I've seen these comments come in and they're so positive and they're so encouraging, I've also seen, in the comments, people banding together against negativity, against trolling. Like it's been heartwarming to see that people will, come to the aid of others and support them and lift them up. I think, the My Fight with Cancer community is forming, and I think that, I don't know where it will end up ultimately, but I think that the community is getting stronger, and that, the impact can be scaled even further to where we can help others even beyond, what we're doing today. So I thank everybody for, subscribing and joining me on this journey and being a part of this community. It's been one of the most meaningful things that I've ever done in my life, and it's odd that it's coming at one of the most challenging times I've ever had in my entire life as well. But I feel like, we're actually able to drive impact, and that we're actually helping people and hopefully saving lives at the same time. In this journey, I'm definitely not alone. I definitely have the entire community, but there's also my family and, the people and my wife that's taking care of me, right? So one of the big things is that you're never really alone if you're with your family, right? Because they have to take care of you too. There's a sick person, there's a caretaker. And having empathy for the other is of utmost importance, because it's not easy to take care of somebody that's sick. Take it from somebody who's been on both sides. A lot of times it just comes down to, we're going to have our grumpy days. And on those grumpy days, we need to be able to have grace for each other, because a lot of times it's not the person that we're mad at or the person that we're grumpy at. It's the disease. It's the day after day grind of having to take care of somebody and think about somebody more than yourself. And a lot of times that can become stressful, and a lot of times we need to vent. And for us to be able to show grace and compassion for each other is of utmost importance to be able to get through this journey. So yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that I've come to realize on this journey. It hasn't been easy, and this calling has definitely helped motivate me, encourage me to push, as well as my family, my son, all of these things. And in building out the community, or My Fight with Cancer, I think the call to help others is undoubtedly something that I believe God has placed in my heart, and I will continue to fight the good fight, and I do believe I will beat this disease and continue to help others with this message of choosing joy, whatever your circumstances, and to be able to get through anything in life, really. So thank you very much for watching. I'm still fighting hard every day. I thank everybody for all of the comments and words of encouragement, and I welcome all the newcomers to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.